What is going on, guys? It's the Inside the Blue podcast and another mock draft we have here on the channel. We've done a good amount of these. Don't forget to check all of them out. We've not only drafted offensive line, we've drafted a quarterback. So definitely, check in and watch all those videos. This is the sixth mock draft of the offseason. A lot of offseason content for the Giants. We pick at number 6 this year. And, we look at the board, right? The draft order for the top 10. Bears taking the number 1 pick. Is it going to be Caleb Williams? Are they going to trade Justin Fields? Is it going to be the Marvin Harrison pick? Or are they going to trade down? I'm not sure, right? I'm not very sure what they're going to do. I think that's one of the biggest talks of the draft is what are the Bears going to do? What are they going to do with Justin Fields? With the Commanders, they're really, waiting on, who is going to be available. Is it going to be Caleb Williams? Is it going to be Drake May, obviously? Drake May should definitely be there at pick number 2. With the Patriots, is this going to be a Jaden Daniels spot? I'm not sure, but I would not be surprised if the first 3 picks are quarterbacks. I've already seen a few mock drafts. That's what it could be. Caleb Williams going to the Bears, Drake May to the Commanders, and then Jaden Daniels jumping up a ton of spots and going to number 3. With the Cardinals, I feel like that should be a Marvin Harrison pick unless they go offensive line. With the Chargers, they can go tight end, they can go wide receiver, they could go offensive line, and then with the Giants, I think there are so many ways that they could go with this. They could take offensive line, they could take a wide receiver. I don't think they take a quarterback here, especially if Jaden Daniels goes to the Patriots. But anyways, let's start this mock draft. Of course, 3 rounds on PFF. And we head to the draft. So, Caleb Williams going number 1. Caleb Williams going number 1. Drake May number 2. Patriots go Marvin Harrison Jr. They do not go QB. Malik Neighbors goes right after him, and then Rome Odunze goes number 5. Interesting order. So of course, not a bad situation for the Giants, right? They could still take a guy like Jaden Daniels. They could still take Fashanu. They could still take Joe Alt. So it's not a terrible situation for the New York Giants because tackle and quarterback are some of the biggest needs for this team, right? I don't think they're going to take a guy like Cooper DeJean, Johnny Newton, or really any of these other guys, right? I think the Giants, this is probably a Joe Alt spot or a Vashanu spot. You could not, you couldn't maybe rule out Jaden Daniels here if they want to go QB. I'm shocked that the computer didn't take Jaden Daniels, and they took Marvin Harrison Jr. At number 3. That's an interesting spot, and then Rome Odunze going, and it's not even Brock Bowers. So now I question where Brock Bowers is. Where is he going to go? Is he going to go to like the Jets or? Yeah, do the Bears take him? But I think this is definitely a good spot for the Giants. We're gonna take Fashanu here. Just change. I think we've taken Joe Alt a few more times, so we're gonna take Fashanu there to start off the draft. Pretty easy selection there. As we look at let's break down the first round. What picks I like, what picks I think are interesting. So Joe Alt goes right after us. That's solid. I don't disagree with that. Cooper DeJean going to the Falcons. Dallas Turner, good pick in my opinion for them. So Brock Bowers doesn't go until 12. Jaden Daniels, I think if that's how this goes, if Jaden Daniels does end up at Minnesota, I think that's really cool. Him, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, I think that could be an amazing trio with Kirk Cousins kind of on his way out, with age and everything. And, some other picks here. that definitely are interesting. Brian Thomas Jr. going to the Jags. That's kind of odd. Jared Verse is a good player. I like that pick. J.C. Latham's good. Latu's good. Jets took Viraga. He's pretty good as well. Looks like, I don't know why Bo Nix is going to the Rams, because they have Stetson Bennett if they want to ride with him. I'm gonna say it right now. I don't think Bo Nix is gonna be a first round pick. I'm gonna say that right now. Kool-Aid McKinstry doesn't go until 24. I think that's a really solid pick. Troy Franklin, so another wide receiver going to Pittsburgh. Jordan Morgan, a solid tackle going to the Eagles. A wide receiver going to the Lions. Leonard Taylor going to the Texans. And a few more. Those are the other picks as well. Starting off the second round, Vitanu goes. Agbuka goes. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's heading back to Ohio State. So that pick is kind of just invalid. But the Giants are on the clock, ahead of the Washington Commanders, and they have some options here. You know, if they want to go Michael Penix Jr., they could. They can go Quentin Mitchell, who's good. They can go Keon Coleman. He's pretty solid as well. So there's a lot of options the Giants can go here. They could even go with a guy like Byron Murphy from Texas. You know, he's pretty good. Right there, ranked 47th per PFF. I think in this situation, Quentin Mitchell's probably, the best here. And 91 PFF grade, really solid year. And we're gonna take him. We're gonna take him. I think cornerback is definitely a need for this team as well. Because without Deonte Banks, it's really not amazing. I don't think Adoree Jackson's gonna return for the Giants. Trey Hawkins is an okay, was a rookie that looked amazing in training camp. Kind of had his struggles. I think Cordell Flott isn't bad. I think if you can get a guy like Quentin Mitchell or Keon Coleman, two solid players. Even with Keon Coleman, right, 11 touchdowns, had a decent, pretty good year in terms of, touchdowns. But I think just for this scenario, I think the Giants would take Quentin Mitchell right there. So, of course, this is our other pick. Keon Coleman still on the board with a few other players as well. Looking at it, J.J. McCarthy goes. Michael Penix Jr. goes. Who did the Falcons take originally? So they got Michael Penix. Who are they pairing him with? Let's see. Messed up on the scroll. They took Cooper DeJean. Interesting start to the draft for them. Of course, this is Seattle's pick too. As we can tell, Michael Penix Jr. went. So, I mean, this could be a Keon Coleman pick. You could even go like a guy like Jalen Polk here, who had a solid year in my opinion. So you could go him. Could go with a guy like Jackson Powers Johnson if you want to, build up that interior, O-line. He had more snaps at, right tackle. Right guard, sorry, in 2022. So he could play guard if you want to draft him. He's a solid player in my opinion. But yeah, this is kind of an interesting spot. I mean, they could go Keon Coleman, but I kind of like Jalen Polk better. And then there's also Xavier Worthy. Not bad. Didn't play well, I mean, I watched a decent amount of that Texas game. But against Washington. Also, Washington news for any of you guys who follow college football. The Washington coach, DeBoer, I forgot his first name, but he's heading to Alabama after the Nick Saban retiring. But yeah, let's get this pick out of the way. I think in terms of value, we're going to take Jalen Polk here. And yeah, that's who we're gonna take. We're gonna take Jalen Polk. I think he's really solid. I think I like him better than Keon Coleman in my opinion. All right, next pick number 70. I believe this is our last pick in the draft. Yeah, last pick in the draft. So, hey, we got some options here, of course. You know, we could take. Oh, never mind. We're not taking him. Though we're gonna think about taking Yale. Yale tackle. Not today. Could take a guy like Peyton Wilson. Really solid linebacker. I don't know in real life if he's gonna be all the way down here. Quinn Ewers, of course, he returned to Texas. I'm not sure about these other guys, but I think the easy pick here is Peyton Wilson. We've kind of zoomed through this draft. This being our 11th pick. Sorry about that. Dog is going crazy in the background if you can hear it. He's unreal. But yeah, so I think if we look at this in terms of who we've drafted, right? We've drafted Jalen Polk, addressed wide receiver. We've addressed offensive line with Fashanu. It's gonna be and who else did we take? We just took Jalen Polk and that's who was the cornerback, Quentin Mitchell out of Toledo. Looking at the draft, Jonathan Brooks goes to the Ravens. I could see that. You know, they doesn't hurt to take a running back for that team. Just hopefully they can stay healthy. Brendan Rice heading to the Patriots. Edgar and Cooper heading there. But we're going to take Peyton Wilson, really solid linebacker. And that's pretty much going to wrap up the draft. Let me know what you guys think about this draft. Kind of a shorter video. Usually these videos are about 20 minutes. Wrapping up around 13. But this is our draft. Took Fashanu. Took Quentin Mitchell, Jalen Polk, and Peyton Wilson. I think it's a solid draft, right? I think I'll say this, if Malik Nabers is not there at 6, they're going to go tackle. I think Malik Nabers is a stud talent, and if they can get him, that'd be huge. That would be amazing. I think they could take Malik Nabers. I really do think that. And as much as offensive line is a huge need, and quarterback, but it looks like they're gonna keep Daniel Jones, right? I think that's their intention. So they're gonna keep Daniel Jones. So that's kind of why I decided not to go Jaden Daniels, because I think Fashan is a really solid prospect out of Penn State. And with this team, it's tough for me for them to pass on two really good tackles for a stud wide receiver, right? But it's kind of been in this league now when they've addressed, teams have addressed their wide receiver situation, and they've gotten stud wide receivers, like the Bengals getting Jamar Chase, the Bills trading for Stephon Diggs, the other teams getting really good wide receivers to help out their quarterbacks, right? AJ Brown trade, CeeDee Lamb being drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. I could still say Terry McLaurin has been a really good player from Washington. Now the Giants need to step up and get a true wide receiver one. So I genuinely think if Malik Nabers was there at 6, I probably would have taken him, because in this world and in this league now, you're going to need an elite wide receiver to be a pretty damn good offensive team. And the Giants weren't good offensively this year. They're one of the worst teams this year. And I think if you can get Brian Dable some more offensive talent and build up the offensive line, build up the wide receiver room, I think they could be a really good offense next year. But of course, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Of course, this was the New York Giants mock draft, my mock draft. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. This was the board for the entire first round. If you guys want to look at it real quick. So of course I'm not going to name every single person, but pretty interesting draft with the Patriots taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I thought they maybe take a quarterback, but hey, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a hell of a player. I think we all know that. He should be a pretty good player for the Patriots as well. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for our 6th mock draft already. We're going to have a lot of these for this offseason. I love making them, and you guys really enjoy them. Don't forget to check out our Super Bowl prediction. I'm not going to say it, but it's definitely an interesting one. A lot of spicy takes, I'm not going to lie. Am I going to regret some of those picks maybe when the games start? Possibly, but I wanted to make it interesting. I wanted to make an interesting, Super Bowl. But anyways, guys, of course, I've said that 2 times now. That's going to do it. See you guys in the next one. Go Giants.